Families know now.
It was accused by 8 women. You know, it wasn't just one person. And the Democratic women were the ones who pretty much forced him out. And I think he did the right thing. On Supreme Court nomination.
I'm out here at Stoke State Forest, and it's probably going to rain today. I'm out here for a reason. And that reason is that Margaret P. contacted me, and she says she wants to take her 2 daughters, age 8 and 10, on vacation. But she doesn't have much money. She doesn't feel it will go very far with a traditional vacation, staying at hotels and inns and things, and she doesn't have a trailer. And she's on a limited budget, and I'm going to work within that budget and offer an option. And I think it'll make for a memorable vacation, and nothing new, nothing groundbreaking here, but it's just a fact that maybe needs to be highlighted. I also get people who say, you know, Cosmo, you've got a trailer. You started at the top and worked your way up, and I don't have a trailer. What am I going to do? Well, here's what you can do. It's pretty straightforward. Get yourself a tent. Get yourself a good tent. And you can make a pretty luxurious camp out of a tent. This happens to be a top-of-the-line tent. You may not need a top-of-the-line tent for what you're going to do. And the characteristics in my mind that make up a good tent are the tent has to cover the entire body down to the waterproof floor, so when rain comes down here, it won't drip on the exposed parts. This is a full coverage fly rain cover. This tent is weighted, you know, look at the design in this tent. It's very aerodynamic. It's not your big house-shaped tent. It's a more aerodynamic design. I've had this tent up in Newfoundland. I've had this tent in a number of different windy locations. When I bought this tent, MSR, who I had to sweat it out of them, they don't like to give you this information, said this tent could withstand 70-mile-an-hour winds. Now, in order for it to do that, and I don't recommend you try it, you've got to have all these tie-outs staked out correctly with big, huge stakes, and you're basically nailing it to the ground to get that to work right. But this tent has a peak vent, which is pretty important. You don't want humidity to build up in the tent. It has a back door, and it has a front door. And you could spend a pretty comfortable amount of time in this tent. Now, again, I said today it's going to rain, and a mom with 2 kids, or anybody else taking shelter in a tent may not be your idea of a vacation. Maybe it is. I mean, it's very pleasant to do that, especially at night. Okay, so I didn't stake this out all the way. I just put it up to show this. So a real requirement for me would be an outside area you could sit, you could cook, you could sit in the rain and not get soaked. So this tent, a couple of $100. That carpet, $30. A chair, I'm assuming you have a folding chair, a couple of small tables. You don't need to have a camper table. You can just get any tables. Bring them along with you. This alcove pavilion here, this 4-legged pavilion, it's no longer made. They make a similar model by Kelty, sold at REI. I paid $120 for it. I used my annual dividend. I got it for less money. I got it for like $80. So there's your space for cooking and lounging around. Put a table out here, 2 camper stoves. Let me see if I've got my camper stoves. For cooking, you can find this lightweight backpacker stove. You'll find them on Amazon. I paid $12 for the first one, and then they sent me an offer where I could get them for $5, $4.99 each. So I bought several of them, and my advice to Margaret, if you're not going to be a heavy-duty backpacker, would be to possibly consider, right? There are other choices. I know other people are going to tell me I've got a better choice, you know, but the stove opens up. And you just screw this on your little fuel can. Well, and you make sure the valve is closed. Okay. And you've got a burner here. You're not going to see it. It's too bright out. But You get 2 of these. You get 2 of these, and you can have a 2-course meal. Pots and pans, I'm sure you're going to bring those from home. We're only into this for a couple of $100 so far, Margaret. So, yeah, this is doable cost-wise. But let's look at the accommodations, because that's pretty important. The trailer, pretty damn comfortable. I spent a wonderful night in there. It was great. But we're not talking about the trailer. You know, the trailer has, you know, I have tons of videos on this trailer. You want to see what trailer camping's all about, you look at my videos. And I've got how-to, what to buy, to consider to buy, and how to get started. Okay, so again, here's your living room. Let's go check your bedroom. Tent has a little alcove. You can put gear here, shoes, other things. The tent has a huge advantage in having a rear door. That means you can fill up the alcove with a whole bunch of stuff and still have egress or entry and exit from the rear entry. That's what we're talking about here. So in hot sunlight, tents can be quite warm, and this back door access is pretty helpful. It serves as a good ventilation feature. I put some cots in here for comfort. Okay, this tent, this vestibule, as opposed to the Vistabule, has a skylight, which makes it nice and bright and cheery. Hey, one important thing for me, colors. I've never been happier than with a tan tent. Light beige tan is my favorite. I don't feel really good when I am in a green or a blue tent. I'm sure this is personal choice, but those are, you know, if you eat food in a tent, it looks bizarre under a green or yellow or orange tent. Yellow is almost acceptable for me, but I like bright and cheery. I like earth tones, and it goes a long way when you're cooped up in a tent to have some pleasant colors that aren't going to kind of get on you. Okay, so I put in here 2 lightweight cots. A lot of people complain about camping, sleeping on the ground, but I have 2 cots. If you're using a cot, you're going to want to have some insulation below you. Most sleeping bags compress and lose their insulation. So you'd want to put a insulating pad, either closed cell or open cell pad. This tent has, again, a peak vent. It also has 2 large, let me get in. So the interior of this tent is a nice beige color, which I really like. Okay, there's a little gear loft up on top. It has the peak vent, which I think is critical on any tent. Just look at a teepee, look at a yurt, look at a wickiup. Any of those things, all the ancient tents all had peak vents. They knew a lot more than we knew. Get a peak vent. Okay, so for ventilation. This particular tent has large windows. So this is a great summer tent. It has one here and one on that side also. You can open these up, get a lot of ventilation in here, which will help in hot weather. This is a completely waterproof tent. I've had it out in torrential rain and wind. And when you get a tent, set it up in your backyard, leave it out in the rain, let it get wet, make sure it's not going to leak. You don't want to find out that it leaked when you are out camping. So this is the front view, looking at the trailer. Back view, looking out the back door. Cot's quite comfortable. Yeah, this particular cot is made by Moonlens. I got it off of Amazon, purchased it from Amazon. You know, cots is a great place to save money, though. You can get these cots dirt cheap somewhere. You know, you don't need to buy this cot at this price. You can find cots at any price range. So if you're on a budget, this is your bedroom. Lighting, LED lighting, you can get rope lighting, you can get any kind of lighting, and a soft glow in here at night will make this really homey, really enjoyable to be in. And I'm just laying on this cot. It is pretty comfortable, I'll tell you. I slept on a mattress last night in the trailer, and this cot is pretty good. So I'm liking my gear. I'm liking my gear selections, you know. I'm laying down, looking up here. There's the skylight, you know, the patter of rain on here later. It's going to be nice. So, you know, a tent is certainly a way to go. I don't want to hear any excuses that people are not enjoying the outdoors because they don't have a trailer. So going the luxury route, you know, teardrop trailer. This one's a Vistabule. You get to take a lot more gear, right? Can fit a lot of gear in here. You can bring things like a stereo. I've got 2 stereos, one in the back. I got a lot more room. This mattress goes down into a bed. Total shelter, peak vent. I have a luggage area, you know, a storage area up in the front, which is no longer available. Sorry, folks, this is a collectible. You know, I've got propane fuel, which I'm going to turn this off. I already made breakfast. This trailer can charge from the car. When I plug it in the car, it'll charge this trailer battery. The thing about this trailer is this magnificent door. You should see my other videos about Bert and his, Bert the designer, and his philosophy, you know, making this trailer. Pretty interesting stuff. It's on my, my channel. You've got this entertainment center right in front of you, which would be the window, which is just unlimited random views, right? There's no director, no screenwriter, no script. This is reality, okay? And it's great. Storage in the back, shelves, there's storage down below. I just had heat installed in this trailer, propane heat. So on a cold night, I can turn up the heat. That's new for me. It's not cold enough for me to really put it through its paces. But back here, you have, I put in an electric refrigerator rather than a cooler. I used a cooler for a couple of years, which was just fine, worked just great. But I got sick of going for ice. I did a 19-day trip boondocking, which is non-campgrounds. It's out in the wilderness up in Minnesota, Michigan, Upper Peninsula. It's a whole other world, the Upper Peninsula, Michigan, or Wisconsin, Ontario. I didn't have to buy ice once. I just used electric refrigerator, my solar panels, charging in the car. So I've got that, you know, convenience. I have, you know, electric lighting all over. You know, there's 2 nice big lights up here, which are very bright. I have a motion detector light here. I can't show you now because it's not dark. I have sink with water, 9 gallons of water. I put this little Cosmo Weems invention on here, which is a director that directs the water. I have a hand spray. You can wash, you know, you can take it, you know, if you have enough water, you take a shower here. I have a way to hook up a bigger water supply, and I can use this hand sprayer to take a shower. I have tubs to take a shower, to take a Navy shower. Okay. Have a 2-burner stove. You look at my other videos. I got lots of videos on this. They're all primarily about getting started and how to, equipment to consider when you're going to get involved in teardrop trailing or RVing in general, right? A lot of I hope my videos are broader than just this trailer, that the techniques and things I show, the gear I buy, the techniques I use are transferable to other RVs, such as my video on low water usage dishwashing. How do you cut grease when you have cold water? And that's a good one. I like that one. I'm surprised more people aren't viewing it. Now, another complaint I have, dear viewer, is statistically on YouTube, it shows that only 20% of my viewers are female. Now, I do have a lot of female subscribers, which I'm really proud of, you know. I just don't understand why I'm not. I get a lot of comments from women, and I think that's great, you know. I'm surprised how many women are going out, getting trailers, and just traveling the country alone. It's just really refreshing. You know, I think this is something that's not known by me and maybe someone else. And I'm just hoping that I get more comments from females and women. I'm hoping that I get more information from them and more about what they would like to see. Not that they're any different than men. I mean, well, there's one difference, but I mean, when it comes to camping, I think there's a universality. And maybe they can help me do better videos with somewhat of a female slant to it, of interest to them. In Margaret's case, you know, bathrooms may be a consideration. And here, at this particular spot, not an issue. There is what's called a vault toilet, and that is here. If you're the kind of person who says, ew, I don't want to use a toilet, well, then you're going to spend your life wandering malls and you know, hotel rooms and getting that lifestyle, and that's all you're going to get. If you're not willing to come out here and do it in the woods, well, then you are missing some of the greatest experiences you could ever have in your life. Well, the rain has started. It's coming down. Camp is good. Trailer's closed up. I can just slap down that door if I need to. I don't need to yet. But for the tenter, they're buttoned up nice and tight. And you've got this, let me run out in the rain here. You've got this area to sit in and enjoy the rain, which is pretty nice. So, the difference between pinned down in a tent and sitting out in the rain enjoying it is this shelter. Some nice thunder action here. I'll see if I can catch one with the camera. Got a nice lightning flash. I'm waiting for the thunder. Oh yeah. I'm getting a major soaking here, but it's kind of nice under the canopy. I have refuge in the tent or in the trailer, but I'm doing pretty good out here. I'm getting worse. Good time to wash the windows. Wow, a fog has rolled in the last 5 minutes, and it's a nice thick one. Along with the fog, it seems like nighttime rolled in too. It's 3 in the afternoon, and it's, I'm sure the camera's compensating for it, but it looks like it's about to, you know, the sun's about, it looks like it's about 20 minutes after sunset. So, great. Great storm last night. Wind-driven rain from about 6 p.m. for the rest of the night. There was lightning galore. I mean, it was really intense. Wind pounding on the trailer. Probably a really good test for this video, you know, how things stacked up. I took down the shelter that I had. I was snug as a bug in the trailer, had my Wi-Fi going, surfing the net, enjoying a glass of hard cider, listening to music, looking out the window at the lightning. Really nice. You know, occasionally I had to get up when the call of nature and go outside. I couldn't care less. I had a great time. You know, you don't get experiences like that in a hotel. You know. Okay, so I took down the pavilion. I dried it out. I'm still letting the tent dry. the ropes are still a little wet. You have to make sure the tent is bone dry when you put it away, or you'll get mildew, and that is going to destroy your tent. So a little tent care is in order. All nylon products, you know, all your camping gear should be bone dry when you put it away, and you should air it out at least once a year if you're not using it. So the tent was dry this morning. It was bone dry. Not, you know, inside was dry. No issues with it in a raging rainstorm. This particular Model 10 has a skylight window here, and this skylight window, it seemed to cool or something, and I got condensation on it which dripped inside this vestibule. A little of it dripped on the door, none of it went in the tent. It's just a characteristic of the tent in this temperature. The tent held up really good. I would not be afraid to tell a mom with 2 daughters to go camping. The carpet was good. It kept mud down. These are high traffic areas getting in and out of the trailer. The carpet has protected, you know, and stopped mud generation. Same back here. This would be pretty muddy by now if I wasn't using the carpeting, but it works pretty good. I flipped over the tent and I'm drying it out. And this is a good view. This tent, I purchased a footprint for it to protect the floor. Now, if you make a footprint, which you can very easily at a Tyvek or a number of different things, you want the footprint to be smaller than the outer edge of the tent. The reason for that is as the rain runs down the tent, you want it to go off into the ground. So this is the tent floor. As the rain comes down the side of the tent, you want that to go into the ground. If this is longer or larger, the water will pool under the tent and it'll collect there, and that is undesirable. So if you're making a footprint for your tent, make it a little smaller.